Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin Frost here, Kona astrologer, about to do show 1147 for you. We're going to cover the last week in November, and the big news for the week is Neptune stations. Neptune slows down, stops, and reverses direction. So this is the time to learn more about Neptune. And I'm intent on going back to some basics, and that's what this show's about. We're going to get into the zodiac some more, because they're the key to figuring squares and trines. Wonderful engineering by very, very ancient people. But once you learn the zodiacs and you manipulate them well, there's only 10 planets, 11, count the nodes. And they're the actors on the stage. And they're always the same in every culture. Neptune is there. And when he stops, like on the 25th of November, boy, he floods your consciousness. That's a joke, because Neptune does a lot of flooding. He always has a lot to do with rain and water and bad smells and chemicals. But most of all, when he stations, there's flooding. Sometimes I've mistaken him, like if there's a hurricane, sometimes it delivers us a lot of rain, and it shows up as Neptune in the astrocartography, not so much as Uranus. And we do have some indicators that the last week in November, first part of December, there's a lot of Neptune for Hawaii. So if you're in a flood area, expect it. Neptune's going to give you a visit. Ha ha ha. And when it comes to this, one of the shabais that happens in Hawaii is Neptune is a sewage treatment plant overflows or discharges, or they start talking about brown water. Oh boy, look out, it's all toxic. Folks, sewage is not toxic, it's sterile. When I was with OSHA, we did a study on all the guys that worked in sewage, and they're healthier than the average worker. No, it's not toxic. That's more baloney from the health department, who loves to scare everybody and play, don't get in the brown water, oh, look out. Anyway, Neptune always does a lot of silly things, and some of it can be very scary, and a lot of it is very deceptive. Things aren't what they seem. People trip out, they dream, they drink a lot, they get stoned. So when Neptune stations, it's best just to kind of treat everybody like they're a little drunk. That's a good way to approach it all. So there he is. I always draw him, a little bit like a cup of wine. Amethyst is the jewel, the purple color of amethyst and the purple color of wine. It said you get one of those half cups of amethyst stones, with the crystals all inside. Drink wine from that, like a cup, and you won't have a hangover. And I can tell you, once I bought 500 pounds of Canadian amethyst. It was no good for jewelry anymore, so I got it really cheap. Didn't know what to do with it. I put it underneath my bed. Started dreaming in technicolor, heavy-duty dreams from that Neptune amethyst. Yes. Now, as you're watching the show, the sun just went into Sagittarius, which is a square to Pisces, mutable fire to mutable water. And you see the sun is going from 1 to 10 degrees Sag. So in 10 days, it'll be at 10 degrees within 3 degrees of the square. So the sun is squaring Neptune as Neptune slows down and stops, which means it's going to be doubly irritating and stop you from what you're doing lots of times. Don't drive into that pool of water on the road. You don't know how deep it is. Okay, we're going to go around the chart here, and the moon goes around once a month, and as it does, it makes angles, squares and trines. Squares, being caught, can't move, obstacles, trines, letting go, things just happen. It's the language of astrology, squares and trines, 90 degrees and 120 degrees. So that's what we're doing. When you see the little red figures here, those are squares, oppositions. When you see the blue ones, those are sextiles and trines, when things go easily. And if you're on the Thursday night show on the 22nd of November, things aren't going easy. Now, there's a full moon there in the middle of Thursday. And there's Jupiter, too. Jupiter's having trouble. So it's an opposition to Jupiter and the Sun. And that could be thunder and overdoing things and things becoming too large. It goes through Thursday night, and here Friday morning, here's a square to Mars, and you may be up early trying to fix some things. I don't know what, but Mars likes to fix things. He's a hero. And you could get kind of stuck in it. He's in Pisces. Maybe you got to go out there and dig a little ditch so the water doesn't flow onto your door. Whatever it is, it's uncomfortable. And this is a stormy time. Thursday, the 22nd. Friday, the 23rd. And here is Neptune. Well, there's Mercury anyway. There's an opposition to Mercury, which says we're having trouble getting around, communicating, transportating. How come? Well, here's the square to Neptune. It's around dinner time on Friday, the 23rd. And you're not liking Neptune at all. Now remember, he stops on the 25th, so he's raging. I should have drawn Neptune really large, here. Because, you even just try to pour yourself a beer, you'll spill it. Watch the little stuff, all the little liquids. Those things start going awry, then you know that Neptune in Pisces, in the middle of Pisces, is hitting your chart bad. Anybody in the middle of mutable signs, Pisces, Virgos, Sagittarius, and Geminis, you've got planets in the middle of those signs, this Neptune is going to confuse you, and you're going to lose things. And so there's the zone. It's Thursday and Friday, the 22nd, 23rd. And it's going to get wet. And there's going to be confusion and delusion. In the Mayan, there's a character, Tezcatlipoca, Neptune, used to fight Quetzalcoatl, Uranus. And he did it with drugs and alcohol. And once he got mirrors out, and he made Quetzalcoatl say, "Oh, you're so beautiful." Anything to take him down. But he's tricky. And they call him Smoke and Mirrors. Smoke and Mirrors is a name for Tezcatlipoca. And the people of Central and South America, they had him down. They knew who Neptune was. It's not Shock. Shock is Jupiter, the rain god, the thunder god. No, it's Tezcatlipoca. Ugh, bad smells. When you smell something, it's fleeting. It goes in your nose. A couple of minutes later, your brain cancels it out and you can't smell it. But it's still there. So when you first smell things, you check it out. Okay? Is that propane smell? I don't know. But you'll be experiencing it on Friday and probably well into Saturday until you get to dinner time while the moon's still going through Gemini here. This is Gemini from here to there. So, trouble getting around, communicating. It settles down Saturday night. Here's a trine to Venus. Well, some relaxation. There's a sextile to Uranus. The phone still works. The cable still works. There's some brotherhood. So, this could be quite nice. After a turbulent, I say, which is a liquid-like term, Thursday, Friday, and most of Saturday, Saturday night could turn out to be a time when people are smiling at each other and there's some brotherhood around. That's a moon in Cancer. It goes through early Saturday or Sunday morning, the 25th, when the moon makes a nice trine to Mars and everybody's out fixing things, getting stuff done. Now do it early, because the moon trining Mars happens, almost before breakfast. And then here's the moon opposing Saturn. There's slowdowns. Other things come up and delay you about breakfast time. And then here on the 25th, here's a nice trine to Neptune. What is that? Well, here's your chance to see the good side of Neptune. Try reading. You know, religion has been distorted a lot, especially in the Western world. There's not much left of the real religion, just like it's turned into, you know, the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, and our holidays have that Neptune quality of a Walt Disney cartoon. So do our religions. So people think Neptune, Jesus was Neptune. No, he was not Tezcatlipoca that gave you too much booze. He was Quetzalcoatl, he was Uranus. So you're going to see through some of this stuff. They call Neptune the priest, artist, doctor, musician, because these are all Neptune characters like movie stars. What do? They act, they lie. Yes. And most of these, half of these Neptune characters got their hand in your pants, either for money or sex. So if you haven't noticed, all the priests and psychiatrists that are having trouble, you know, they keep it very secret, yeah? Neptune, smoke and mirrors. They got a PhD, that gives me the right to what? What? Ha 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 ha. So you're going to see the truth of a lot of that Sunday night. And if you're going to do music, do real music. You know, go back to the Woodstock music of the 60s, or back to Bach and Beethoven, and some real stuff, not this modern phony stuff with a bad smell. Go out in nature, you can't beat that. Birds and the colors of their feathers. And the sunset, Sunday night, the 25th. And you know, if you're going to talk to God, or Jesus, or Mary, they're real. They're spirit. Talk out loud. You got to talk out loud, pray out loud to spirit. Sunday, afternoon and evening, the 25th, as Neptune stops. Okay, I got to get moving here. I want to get into zodiacs and back to lesson number 2. So, on Monday, there's an opposition to Pluto. The mosquitoes are out, the bugs are out, moon still in Cancer, no power and control trips. Late Monday night, here's a square to Venus and Uranus. So there's not much rest. You may have some trouble sleeping Monday night, the 26th. Tuesday, some good guys show up. The moon shifts into Leo. When the moon goes into Leo, we got trines to the sun and Jupiter, to Mercury. Wisdom is flowing. Feels pretty good. Actually, Monday night, the moon went by the North Node. There was some nurturing. But Tuesday's definitely different. Moon in Leo. Do you know your rising sign? You don't know your rising sign, we're going to talk about it. You better get used to learning it. So it feels pretty good all the way through Wednesday. Wednesday night, here is the sextile to Venus and the trine to Uranus, and there's a lot of brotherhood around Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Be with somebody that you love. Thursday, on the 29th, we start hitting some rocky areas here when the moon squares Jupiter and Mars and the sun and Mercury. We could have some more blustery weather, chances of flooding, some thunder, you know, people running around trying to fix things, having trouble. Thursday settles in a little bit early Friday morning with the trine to Saturn. We got more organized, but still, look at that, there's that Neptune. He's in square. Moon's opposing Neptune at 13 degrees of Virgo to 13 degrees of Pisces. So that's not much good. Let's see, 13. Oh, that's right here. So here's the marker. It's really Thursday nights. Friday morning about 2 a.m. That's when this Neptune really goes off. And again, you can see some flooding and bad smells and all the symptoms of Neptune. You get control about noontime on Friday, the 30th, with a nice trine to Pluto. Good for you. Feels better the rest of Friday and Friday night. Saturday morning, moon's in Libra. There's a square to Mercury and Jupiter. We're talking and communicating and doing very well. In the afternoon, here's the moon squaring Saturn, and around dinner time things slow down on Saturday. Take it easy. There is a nice sextile to the sun, however, and you can make a plan and start getting some things done. On Sunday, December 12th, the moon squaring Pluto is a little panicky in the afternoon. Hard to control things. Maybe more mosquitoes from all that rain, huh? Monday morning, moon's going by Uranus, opposing Venus. We all feel a little bit weird on December 3rd. And we'd like to get some rest, but there's too much noise out there. And you won't sleep well Sunday night, so be a little bit on guard. And especially from this guy. Yeah? What was it? Polky is how Tezcatlipoca brought down Quetzalcoatl. Neptune sabotages Uranus. These are privileged people under color lots of times. They wear the colors of doctors and priests, and they're supposed to have a bigger responsibility because they're under color. That's what they call it in legal terms. But I just see him as sneaky. I've decided Neptune is not a good guy. He's really a malefic. A lot of people argue with me about that. Oh, that's music. That's crystal healing. That's... Sorry, Tezcatlipoca is an evil dude. Okay, here's a brief report on a prior prediction. This is from show 1143, and I predicted this was a hurricane window here. And what happened was interesting because the nodes are squaring Uranus and slowed him down. However, what we got here in Kona was very chaotic wind. The middle islands in the chain got flooding. That was on the 29th and the 30th. And so like we got a mini hurricanes here. The wind was doing this chaotic stuff, and this whole window was full of too much rain and too much storminess. So the prediction came out, but I warned it's not a hurricane. It's a mini hurricane. You got to watch the words here. They'll say, he predicted a hurricane. It was just a storm. Well, it went all the way through 1, 2, 3, 4 days here of you getting stormy conditions and flooding and stuff. So it's a good prediction. I just used the wrong word. Okay, back to basics. Remember in the last show I was doing lesson number 1. The clock, 12 segments. The zodiac, 12 segments. And we begin to learn that it isn't just zodiac signs. They're divided. You divide them in 4 places. You get earth, air, fire, and water. It used to be that people knew which signs were fire signs and water signs. They don't know anymore. You got to go back to basics and relearn this stuff. So here's the earth trines, Virgo, Mercury, or Taurus, Capricorn. The air trines, they're all trine each other, make triangles. Earth, air, fire, water. That's the fun part. You see people who have rising signs in earth, they wear earthy colors. You see people with rising signs in air signs, they wear things floating in the air. Fire signs wear fiery colors. Water signs wear blues and purples and Pisces. The color of a person. The other thing you should know is all air and fire signs wear gold. Earth and water wear silver. That's important, as you'll see. Now, if you divide all the zodiacs into 3 parts, what you get is these angular pieces. There's 4 of them. And on the fan blades, the cardinal signs that are real active: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Cardinal points on the compass. Okay? And then the fixed signs. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. That's the second group off the fan blades. These guys, they don't move too much. Then the mutable signs, the third, the quiet ones, but they're moving all the time. The Geminis, Virgos, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So now, when you look at a zodiac sign, these guys are all in square, by the way. All the cardinal signs square each other and oppose each other. They don't work real well together. They all want to be the boss. The fixed signs, Well, they don't want to move. And they'll, remind me of the minor birds all fighting to see who gets the top roost in the tree. Nothing much happens here. The mutable signs, they're all running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Oh my goodness, nothing gets done there either, squares and oppositions. So these are stressful things, the cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Now, let's take a look at your rising sign. What is that? That's the sign rising over here, coming up on the sun when you were born. On the exact minute you were born, what sign was coming up on the eastern horizon? That's what you have to discover. Now you can look at people and kind of determine some of that. For instance, you just watch their body. If they're cardinal, they move very purposefully. I'll take this and put it there. Oh yeah. If they're a fixed sign, they sit there and they don't move and just freeze in position. If they're a mutable sign, some part of the body's always moving. It's your foot or their finger or something's twitching. So first of all, you look at the mode of action of a person's body to see if they're cardinal, fixed, or mutable. Try to figure it out. You don't have to watch them very long and you'll see. Once you know whether they're cardinal, fixed, or mutable, then you move over here to the colors they're wearing. If they're earthy people, they wear colors of the earth. Airy, they wear the light colors and things floating. Fire signs, well, that's self-explanatory. And the water, the blues. So when you look at the colors that they give you, and finally, so when you put these two together, you'll discover their rising sign. And once you do, you really know that person. When you find out your own rising sign, you'll say, well, that explains why I'm so stubborn. I'm a fixed sign rising. Like your astrologer is a Taurus rising. I'm stubborn. I don't want to move. I don't want to change. Well, remember now, fire and air signs wear gold. Earth and water signs wear silver. Okay, we're not talking about your sun sign. The sun sign is what you get from your son, the father. It's character. It's how you go about doing things. You copy the way your father and other significant father figures do things. We call it character. The moon sign is different. That's your face, your personality. You copy your mother's face. That's how you get your moon sign. Emotional responses and expressions of the face. The brain is set up to recognize faces. A policeman can get 1 out of 1,000. He'll recognize a face. What we're talking about here is rising sign. I mean, everybody in the sun sign is everybody born in a month. In the moon sign, everybody born in 2.5 days. The rising sign, everybody born in 2 hours. And this is your body. This is who you really are. So it's really worthwhile to figure out a person's rising sign, and it's fun to do. Hey, before I go through the list, I need help. Yeah. I do a lot of services, nuts and bolts, the future. I don't do a lot of personality, but I'll sell you a computer thing for $20, 20 pages of personality, or compatibility. They're cheap. You want to do the future, you can do Jeeps and Chevys and Cadillacs. There's a whole range of them. A life reading is $200. Solar returns, elections, surgery, trips, marriages, cheap. A lot of times I do these on the email, and I do cheap stuff. So I wish you'd use my services. I'm not going to be here forever. But if you don't want to use them, donate me some money. You want to keep this show alive? 77-6473 Princess K.E. Likolani Drive, Kona, 96740. Slip a check in the mail and send it to Rollin Frost. And keep me going. Because Uranus is not happy in the sky now. Nobody's ordering work from me. So I'm very broke. Please help. Well, I'm running out of time again. Look, here's a list of the signs. I'm going to go through them quick. Aries is cardinal fire. Taurus is fixed earth. Gemini is mutable air. Cancer is cardinal water. Leo is fixed fire. Virgo is mutable earth. Libras are cardinal air. Scorpios are fixed water. Sagittarius is our mutable fire. Talking about rising signs. Capricorns are cardinal earth. Aquarius is fixed air. They wear airy costumes with print on them, but they don't move. They're fixed. Pisces, immutable water. They're flowing all over the place. So you got to know your signs, and the way to get to know the signs is to use cardinal, fixed, or mutable, and then use earth, air, fire, water. That's how I learned astrology. I couldn't figure out the difference between a Cancer and a Virgo, but once I knew that Cancers are cardinal water and Virgos are mutable earth, oh, it got clear. So that these labels, earth, air, fire, water, cardinal, mutable, fixed, are better in a lot of ways than the signs. The signs have a lot of magical stuff on them, and it's fun to get into them. But this is the key. You can figure out your own rising sign. You know, first, the mode of action. Are you cardinal and you do things purposefully? You fixed and don't like to move? You're mutable and moving all the time? Figure that out. Notice whether you're wearing silver or gold. If you're wearing silver, you're earth or water rising. The body likes silver. The fire and the air signs, they like gold. I'm a Taurus rising. I like silver. I wouldn't wear gold. So make a list. Go around the zone. You should know, if I say, what's Scorpio? You should say, fixed water. If I say, what's Sag? Mutable fire. You should know right away. And that describes what Sagittarius is. You don't know what a Sagittarius is, but you know what mutable is. It's moving. And you know what fire is, energy. So that's the way to get to know the zodiacs. That's your next lesson. Is you got to go through and here we're doing the first and the second grade. These are multiplication tables. Yeah. This is your first hack at a real alphabet. That's what this stuff is. So make a list and start going through them and learn them. It'll be well worth it, believe me. Well worth it down the line. If you don't do this, you'll never really get into astrology very well. So do it and study it. Hey, the rewards are immense. Once anybody that you know, you may know their rising sign, but that won't tell you much. You're going to know whether cardinal, mutable, or fixed, whether they're earth, air, fire, or water. And once you figure it out, check the silver and the gold to make sure you're correct. It's fun. Once you know that, once you know their rising sign, you know that person. Yeah. Here's my email, rollinfrost@yahoo.com. Drop me a line. Let me know what you think. Aloha.